Hi guys, my name is Tanya and today I am going to be doing a book haul for you. I know that I don't normally do these and I have some kind of moral problems with these, but as I'm staying at home this week I have had access to two of my all-time favourite bookshops, so I just thought I'd show you what I got from them as they're pretty special to me. I come from a relatively little town called Whitstable, which is just on the coast in a county called Kent, and it was at some point on a list of places that BuzzFeed recommend you visit either in England or in the UK, which as someone who comes from here I kind of disagreed with, but actually if you were coming from outside of here it's pretty nice, like I'd visit. But yeah, if you ever are in town, do go and visit these bookshops because they are my absolute favourites and I adore them and I need them to stay in business for when I visit home. So the first of the two shops that I visited is Oxford Street Books, not to be confused with Oxford Street London. Oxford Street in Whitstable is Whitstable's high street, and this shop deals both in buying and selling used books. Where they sell whatever people bring them, they have these ridiculous collections of out-of-print fiction and all sorts of current fiction, cookbooks, classics, you name it, they've probably got it. They have a hell of a lot of crime and sci-fi novels. I love them for their selection of classic novels and also for the hidden gems that I've found down in their basement where they keep their music and other academic sections. So the first book, I am going to get it out of the way because I find it really exciting. It's not your typical booktube kind of book, as it is the Selected Essays on Music by Vladimir Stasov. I studied this at uni and I could never quite justify the price that they were always asking for it in the shop. So now I don't know if this is a different edition that they've repriced or if they've finally given up trying to get the price that they were asking for it, but I picked this up for $3.95 yesterday very, very gleefully. Stasov was a music critic in 19th century Russia, and although he could be a pretty overbearing fellow, he did play a big part in how Russian music shaped up in that century, although the composers that he tried to kind of coerce to do his thing would often go off and do what they wanted to anyway, so he was there being an influence. I find this stuff really interesting. The other book that I picked up in this shop was My Cousin Rachel by Daphne du Maurier. I discovered du Maurier because Rebecca, which is probably her most famous book, is on my 100 books challenge list, and every time I find a cheap copy of one of her books I'll pick it up because I've been really enjoying working gradually through her catalogue so far. This book is also one of my mum's favourites, and since she's always telling me to read it because she knows I liked Rebecca, I finally managed to pick up a copy. So from what I've read about this book, it seems like a little bit of a murder mystery, and although people fall in love with Rachel, she maybe isn't what she seems, and I'm intrigued to find out what happens. And it actually matches my copy of Rebecca, which I'm worryingly happy about, seeing as these just happen to be two different books that I've picked up across time secondhand. My other favourite bookshop is Harbour Books, which is just down the road from Oxford Street Books on Harbour Street. This always has a really good selection of classics, especially the Wordsworth classics, which tend to be a little bit cheaper than some of the other editions you can buy, which if you're trying to build up a collection of books to read rather than to sit and look pretty on the shelf, they can be really handy to buy. They also have plenty of children's books, YA, and plenty of current and contemporary fiction, and they often have these just a bit under the retail price, which can be quite a nice surprise. So the books that I bought from this shop are both from my 100 books list. I will post a link around somewhere so that you can see that if you'd like to, but they're also both two completely different books. The first book that really caught my eye was Dante's The Divine Comedy. Overall, this book presents the journey of a character through the three stages of the Christian afterlife, so hell, heaven, and purgatory, or as they are in this book and in order, Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. It's actually just the Inferno part that is on the list that I want to read, but I've not come across this whole book for $3.99 in a shop yet, and it's also written in verse, so it's not going to take me long to read the whole thing, and I might as well. The final book that I picked up was The Secret History by Donna Tartt. So this book was originally published in 1992, and it's about a group of college/university students who begin to think differently under the influence of a classics professor until they begin to move beyond the realms of normal morality. So it's got a pretty vague but intriguing outline, and this is one of the books on the list that I know very little about, just that it's there and its title is tantalising me. And whilst I see a lot of people reading The Goldfinch and The Little Friend, which are Tartt's other books, the fact that this was her first published book makes me want to read it first, and if I enjoy it I will move on to some of her later works. I do have a bonus book for you guys, which I didn't buy. I plucked it off of these very shelves behind me, and I'm going to be taking it back to Cardiff with me as I talk about it so much, but I never show it to you because it's always been on these shelves, and it is this copy of Fantastic Mr. Fox by Roald Dahl, which I kind of inherited from my grandma when she moved house. She used to keep it in her sideboard, and every time I came to her house I'd read it, and when she moved out she was like, you might as well just take it home with you, Tanya. I love the story in this book, but the thing that I really adore is that this is pre the Quentin Blake illustrations, which I also love, but its illustrations are by a lady called Jill Bennett. It has these adorable little fox illustrations, and they're just a little bit less scrappy than the Quentin Blake illustrations, which I really like. So yeah, this is travelling back to Cardiff with me this time. So yeah, that was my mini little book haul, and also a kind of imaginary book tour of my hometown town. I hope that you enjoyed it. I know I don't post this kind of thing often, but I thought it would be a little bit of fun, and I'm really excited to get to all of these books actually. Like, I know they're not the normal sort of books that you'd be excited to get to, but I'm raring to go. I hope that you're all having a lovely week. I hope that you're all having a lovely day, and I will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye!